Oh, sorry. Hang on a minute. Are we going live? Ready, ready. Hello and welcome to the Apex Racing League GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV and live on the iRacing Esports Network. We're here for round 3 of the championship. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Adam Hedgecock with Mark Chancer on the cameras tonight. And for the first time in this championship, we are gathered at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Roval course. Adam, I've visited this place a couple of times in the last few weeks. I always just say it's weird. It's a weird circuit. It is a Roval. It has elevation change. It has lots of different types of corners. Some places you got very tight walls as well. It's a bizarre mix-up, and we thought it was going to be a good round for this race 3 of the season.
I have to be brutally honest, Sam. This place scares me. I've never turned a lap here. I've not even loaded it up on the sim until tonight. It scares me, the way the track ebbs and flows and bobs and weaves, and you really have to be on your toes throughout it. Any mistake and you're done. Like you said, there's walls everywhere. Overtaking here, I'm fascinated by how this is going to play out. And in the early running from the practice that I've been watching, the drivers are all a little bit confused about how they're going to go about it too. So it should make for a fascinating night.
It really should. Tom McMahon, despite a slightly struggling start to the season, he is in the lead of the championship. He managed to get his first race win of the season at Monza Race 2 with a fantastic drive through the order. He was leading Race 1 as well until he had a collision with Jonas Bowden. Bowden with a penalty after that collision. He is currently at the head of the championship, and I mean, when you can have the troubles that McMahon has had so far this season, Adam, it kind of just shows how great a driver he is. They can still be leading at this point because there's been plenty of points on the table. He had an awful race 2 at Road America, a poor race 1 at Monza. He's just been able to find himself back up the front, even though he hasn't got necessarily a big pace advantage over his rivals.
He does seem to get the lucky stick pointed at him a few times, doesn't he? We've seen a few big incidents where he's just about managed to come out unscathed, and even when he has picked up damage, he's been able to recover from it pretty quickly. It's amazing that he's on this streak that we've seen all the way through last season as well, and towards the end of the previous season. He just seems to be riding this wave of I wouldn't necessarily call it untouchability, untouchable, or whatever, that kind of phrase. He certainly has his problems, but he's got this resolve about him now, hasn't he, where he can just keep driving, get his head down, go for it again, and still pick up the points he needs to be right at the sharp end.
He's in absolutely top form. Could easily be put off his perch. We are currently in this practice session, 1 hour 20 minutes, and then we'll hop into a 10-minute qualifying session. 4 laps the drivers can set, and then a 25-minute race 1 and a 40-minute race 2 coming up for you later on. At the moment, fastest in practice is Tom McMahon. Jonas Bowden in 2nd place, Daniel Lee in 3rd. I mean, a word on Daniel Lee, Adam. He's been nipping on the heels for a season and a half now, maybe even more than that. I think you can pretty much say from his debut, he's been kind of a good challenger to have got Derek Holland skating along on his floor. Apologies on his feet. But he's been nipping at the heels all the time. Just a little bit of lack of qualifying form recently for Lee, I've found. Usually in the past he's been fantastic in the qualifyings and then maybe falling down in the races. This season it seems to be kind of the opposite, but if he can play himself onto the front row of the grid, then he'll give himself a chance.
He just seems to be getting better and better at the moment. When we first saw him, he was a little bit erratic. Unquestionable, he was quick, but a bit erratic. He's kind of dialed that out, and then he kind of went from, sort of a top 10 driver to a top 5 driver, and all of a sudden we're kind of seeing him, and he's pretty much a top 3 driver now, really, isn't he? When he can get it all together. How he still hasn't won a race is just beyond me. But yeah, he just seems to be getting better and better. And what he's doing as well with his teammate, Dean Powell, he's dragging him along with him. Powell's going from, I mean, he had a bad couple of corners at Road America, didn't he? Couldn't quite get his braking right, but he's getting quicker and quicker as well as we go to him and see him spin into the wall. There's the commentator's curse already. But yeah, it's brilliant to see how he's progressing and how the pair of them are.
Yeah, they are a team on the move at the moment. The team's championship actually very close at the moment. It's pretty close with M signs, which are a little bit behind because there's only the two of them, which is a disadvantage in this series. You can have a maximum of 3 drivers as part of your team, but only the top 2 in each round score points. And after a consistent start to the season, Vanguard Simsports lead with 303 points, but they're only just ahead of EBSR, Fuga Simsports Red, and High Caliber Autosports Pro, all there. EBSR Green in 5th place and M Signs UK down in 6th place. You do wonder if they did have a third driver, they'd probably be right in the mix for the championship win at the moment. Also in the teams, in the amateur championship, Stephen Leahy leads the way. 69 points he has scored so far, has Leahy. Dean Powell and Nick Brown in 2nd and 3rd. And it was a kind of tricky call and to keep Stephen as an amateur driver because he's had some very good results, and we don't really like rookie drivers to jump into the season and get the amateur win because, you know, if you're good enough to win the amateur championship in your first season, then you probably don't deserve that rank. But Stephen, no disrespect for him, hasn't performed very well in the qualifying so far this season. But in the races, he's pretty much maxed out his performances, which is really impressive for a driver in his first season.
Yeah, he's. I think he's right on that cusp, isn't he? I don't think he's quite there with the pros. He's had flashes of it, for sure. And I'm with you. Yeah, it's kind of a hard judgment call on him about whether he was AM or not. But he's only 9 points ahead after 2 rounds. I think that's about right for him at the moment. Maybe if he just starts getting it together and putting in the better results, maybe he's got a chance at properly mixing it with the pros. But as you can see right now, he's in his practice session, down in 25th. He's got a handful of AMs still ahead of him. So, yeah, interesting to see how he goes for the rest of the season. Certainly got potential. I think he's one of those drivers that we spoke about a group last season in the mid-season break, you know, having that kind of almost just need to do a little bit better and they can really start getting the results kind of feel about him. But yeah, like I say, it'll be interesting to see how he goes. Yeah, especially around here, a new driver in amongst a lot of familiar faces who know how to race each other. Could be quite tough for him tonight.
Could be a tricky one. How are we expecting kind of the overtaking to be around the circuit? Because most Rovals, and including the old Charlotte Roval, and I'm sure drivers who signed up to iRacing more than a year ago would have driven loads on the old Charlotte Roval. Good track actually in the MX-5 because you got the entire back straight and NASCAR 3 and 4 before you get into turn 1 at the start of the next lap. Absolutely suicidal lap as well as we just progressed to qualify. But around this circuit, we've got a couple of extra chicanes in there. Of course, we've got one at the end of the back straight, then we've got one at the start finish line as well, pretty much. Of course, you haven't done much racing here, Anna, but just as a glance at the circuit, I mean, can we expect a whole lot of overtaking, and where do you think the best opportunities are going to be?
I think it's going to be pretty tough for overtakes here. I have a feeling that the best way to do it is to go the touring car route and kind of lean on your opponents and kind of not force your way, but play the rules. You know, in the rule book it says you have to leave a car's width if there's part of a car alongside, and maybe play to that rule a little bit. Be a little bit more aggressive than you would do normally. The downside to that, of course, if you go too aggressive, there's walls on the outside that your opponents could end up in, and penalties would be flying your way if that was the case. It's going to be tough, Sam. I wish I could be more enlightening than that, but I'm as fascinated by this as everyone else.
will be very interesting because we just don't have a whole lot of experience around this circuit. We really don't visit this place a whole lot on Apex Racing TV. We don't visit this place a whole lot either on the iRacing esports network as well. And of course, the first time we visited this place as well in this championship. Chris Van Den Nesse just starting his lap. We're expecting the drivers to do maybe one first quick lap and then maybe come into the pits, sacrifice their second lap as an out lap pretty much, and then go for 2 more laps straight after. You should be able to get 3 flying laps, and they are allowed 4, but it's unlikely that the drivers will put in 4 laps of fuel because it's a little bit of extra fuel, which isn't too bad because these cars are well over a ton in weight anyway, even with no fuel. But of course, you will be degrading your tires as it goes on. There's Van Den Nesse through this relatively new chicane. Used to be quite a chicane. Did you really never race this circuit, Adam, with the old chicane? Because I mean, if you haven't, I recommend it on like AI or something on iRacing when that's released for this circuit, because it is insane. It is like the Singapore sling on steroids.
Oh, I do love a good cocktail. But no, it absolutely scares me. Like, I would rather go and race at Bathurst or Belle Isle than here. This place just terrifies me. I've just never plucked up the courage to do it. Silly, really, because it's not too dissimilar to the old road course, and I drove an MX-5 around here for days, in the officials. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just need to man up a little bit. Maybe I need to just swallow my pride and think, you know what, if I'm going to crash it into a wall, I can do it on my own. No one has to know, and then I can say to Sam, yeah, I've raced it. It was brilliant. Does it still have the jump in it? I remember seeing videos of a jump.
What was that around this chicane? Or
I'm not sure whether it's this chicane. I remember seeing videos of people jumping over walls because the curves are so aggressive.
I think you're right, yeah. I think that's at turn 1, I think, when I've seen that, where you can hit the curb at turn 1 and jump over the barrier. So, well, it might be the fastest way. I recall a driver last season in the ARLTC season finale, as McMahon goes provisional pole, skip the infield section of Daytona multiple times. He was injured. Well, he was damaged, so he ended in the end he kind of benefited from it because he stayed on the lead lap. But
yes, I remember that.
Yeah, you remember that one.
I was very confused when I kept seeing his name. How was he going so quick? I don't understand.
Well, he won the race at one point. He was winning the race. Yeah, that involves some discussions. I doubt that driver is listening along now. If you are, then you're having a good time. But yeah, that won't be happening much in this. That's quite a high risk strategy. Of course, we have seen the Cup cars, the Porsche Cup cars, which were run in the Porsche Esports Super Cup, which you can probably see on the Esports Network every or most weekends, most Saturdays. But they can easily just drive on top of one another. To be honest, you could probably stack about 5 of which on top of one another. So if you want to line up that, maybe these 911s could do that. But certainly, I don't think that's going to be tried by too many of the drivers. Anyway, Tom McMahon currently ahead of the order. There is Daniel Lee trying to improve. Crouch goes up into 2nd place. James Crouch has been a fantastic addition to the championship. Of course, his team, Vanguard Simsports, leading the team's championship at the moment. Really driving an experience where unfortunately we haven't had a chat with Crouch yet, but hopefully that'll happen later on in the season. Hopefully he'll have a chat with us in the comms box. But he's currently on the front row of the grid, and Daniel Lee not improving enough to put a challenge on him. About a 10.5 between them, but out in the leads, Adam. This is some mighty laps by Tom McMahon. No one at the moment really gets in that close, 1/4 of a second between him and the rest.
He's done this from time to time, hasn't he? He's been close in the practice, and then all of a sudden he just pulls something out the bag and goes way ahead. Got a nice chunk of time over Crouch, who of course won race 1 last time out at Monza, taking his maiden victory. So we know that he's certainly capable, more than capable of putting it up there with a good time. Lee in 3rd, Powell kind of surprising to see him up there so high. Fourth place at the moment for Aaron Powell. Now, this doesn't look anything like Watkins Glen. So to see him up there. Eipenberg now. Wow. P1 for Eipenberg into the 12s. 112.9. That's quick. That is very quick from Eipenberg. Kind of surprised to see that. In fact, is that identical times with McMahon? 12.96. Am I reading that right?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I'll get it up on my local iRacing screen, see if that shows any difference. Yeah, 2/1000ths in it for Eipenberg. 2/1000ths of a second. Well, I think that's it, isn't it? I don't think they're going to be able to do any more laps. I'm always confused by for the four that's thing. But I think McMahon is back into the pit, so I think that's it. That should be
This
it
is your
for.
format. How can you be confused by
No,
it?
no, I mean our live timing says
Oh.
4.38, but I don't know if that's including your out lap or not. So
Gotcha.
I know the iRacing system doesn't include the. Don't doubt my format. I know this format really well. Considering how I do many broadcasts a week and have no idea what's going on most of the time. Like I think it's like a reverse grid of 10 or something. It turns out to be 30 odd. But no, I do know this one. Daniel Lee could improve. I don't think Lee come into the pits at any point. Well, I think he's now coming into the pits. Weird pit entry as well here, but they don't need to come into the pits. They have all the fuel that they want. So, we were talking about how McMahon was going to be able to take this one. But Eipenberg, second place in the championship with a strong time there. Mads Gravson crossing the line in ninth. He does not improve on that one, about only 800 slower than his best time. Emil Winbo, he started off as an amateur driver this season. Not a great qualifying at the moment for Winbo. And he crosses the line. And in fact, that was actually his outlap. So then he just gets him going. I doubt he'll have time to. Oh no, he should have time to play in this lap, but he's just crashed. So yeah, you can put a hold on that.
It's kind of weird, isn't it, how it's played out with Wimbo? Because we saw him at Road America, and he was lightning. He was brilliant. You know, he had a couple of incidents, but his pace was really really quick. And you know, naturally, he was moved up to pros because of that. And since then, he's been a little bit all over the place, hasn't he? He just hasn't got it all together to kind of re-show that amazing pace. It's kind of I feel bad for him because you know, he started off really really quick, and yeah, it's just all gone to pot since then. Fortunately though, it's only round 3, so maybe he can last more than an outlap and a corner, and be able to get a good result in race 1 tonight.
Yeah, that's Road America race was very much a what's if he qualified up in fourth place, but wasn't able to follow through on it, unfortunately. Of course, if you fancy joining this league, go sign up on the Apex Racing League GT Championship. We're going to reopen signs. Actually, you know what? It may not be open at the moment. I need to update that. But keep an eye out in the next few days because there should be entries available. We maxed out 44 cars with a few reserves as well. But some slots are becoming available at this point of the season, so you can take part in the second half of the championship. Still 5 more rounds to go after this one, and take part in the madness that is the Apex Racing League GT Championship, along with all of our other Apex Racing League championships. Of course, F3 Championship has just ended, but that'll come back soon. The GT4 Championship has just restarted. We have the Touring Car Championship as well. And a new championship actually coming quite soon, which we'll have further details on. And also our Bathurst 250-kilometer special event. And that will be starting, or that'll be on in a couple of weeks' time. So if you want to have some preparation for the Bathurst 1000, then you can sign up to our event the week before and get some good experience under your hands. Live stewarding in that one, also a random safety car broadcasted on the Esports Network as well. So do sign up on apexracingleague.com there. The grid then for this race 5 of the championship. Oh, that was quick maths. Dennis Eipenberg on pole, 2/1000ths of a second clear of Tom McMahon, very close James Crouch starts in third place. By the way, I don't know if we could just go to like an aerial shot of the cars because they line up very strangely around this circuit, and I really want to see how they manage to pull away from this. But yeah, Crouch in third place, Daniel Lee in fourth. Then it's Aaron Powell, Arthur Godzik, Alex Moore, Bob Humphrey, Mads Grafson, Matty Chambers, James Saltz, Luke McCowan starts in 12th place. And then in 13th, it's Chris Van der Nesse, Mark Hutchinson, Callum Wright, Jensen Adrianson, Stephen Leahy, top of the amateur drives. Leahy driving well at the moment in that championship. Dean Powell, a little bit low down for Powell actually in 18th. Then it's Adam Coles, Kev Copeland, Brian Jones, Tom Stevens, Mark Heron, Tom Bingham, Max Wolf. Once again, leaving himself a lot to do. Max Wolf in 25th. John Chester, Joseph Salt, Kevin Kitzelman, Derek Holland, Rob Winter. And then drivers who didn't set qualifying times were Steve Brown, Jonas Bowden, Tobias Olsen, Daniel Sabo, Emil Winbo, and Wayne Douglas and Chris Danes weren't proper drivers, I believe. Maybe just helping out some their teammates. And a couple of those drivers further down with pit lane starts. So Bodan, after making contact with McMahon in the last race, he has to start from the pit lane, and Daniel Sabo as well has to start from the pit lane in both races. Unfortunately, he was involved in a couple of collisions. So that is why they are so far down on the order. That's a weird start. It's a bit of a Le Mans start in a way. The way that they line up on the grid there. But everyone seemed to manage to get through it quite aggressively, which is not an easy thing to do.
That was amazing. I've not seen that before. That iRacing. Okay, I'm going to speak to you directly now. We need to have animation for drivers running from their pit boxes to the cars. Let's go really old school, Le Mans. Let's have drivers running across the track to get to their car to get started. That was phenomenal. I love that. Hope the media guys can get some real nice shots of the cars lined up before we start, because that was fantastic.
There's nothing I would love more, Adam, than to get in my car, maybe trip you up on the way, and then crush your skull with my Ford GT. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. That.
I race in VR, so I'd literally be running across my living room with a VR headset on, trying not to fall over the couch as I go.
Yes, that would be great. Tom McMahon then, the car number 1, alongside Dennis Eichenberg. What can the others do just behind? Remember Godzik with a win already this season. Eichenberg yet to get a win this season, but of course did win the last race of the championship in season 2, won the last race at Suzuka. Unfortunately had a bit of an abbreviated season last season, had to miss pretty much all the middle rounds of the championship. Second place in the season at the moment, and if he's going to start catching up to McMahon, he's got to start winning these race ones. We saw it with Bicycopsica last season. You can be very consistent, but when you're racing against Tom McMahon, you've got to beat him on occasion on pace. Around a tricky to overtake circuit like this could be a very good opportunity for the BMW to do so. Watch out further down the order as well for a few kerfuffles in the midfield. Drivers potentially making contact through the very tight chicane at the end of the outlap and to start this race. Also a few worries of potentially a pile-up as well through turn 1 with the walls very close, but fingers crossed we get through it fine and can have a clean 25-minute race to start off this meeting 3 of the championship. The pace car pulls in, and already Dennis Eichenberg is pulling away from the field. He was wasting no time and felt as though that was the best way to build a gap. The lights are green, and it is McMahon who stays in second place. Good start for Daniel Lee. Poor start for drivers on the even side of the grid. They were just a little bit slow to get away, but they were pretty much single file by the time that they got to the start-finish line. Good start for Dean Powell. A bit further up, a bit further down, so gaining a couple of places. But yeah, just drivers on the odd side of the grid, apologies, losing some places. Crouch losing a place, along with Powell and Moore, Humphrey, Godzik and Lee all benefiting right there.
I'm surprised how clean that was. That's absolutely shocked me. I was expecting a little bit of contact further down the order, but they all seem to just take it into consideration how how awkward this track can be, especially that first turn, going single file really early, making sure they don't have any issues so they can keep going for the rest of the race. Surprisingly, no real big movers. Tobias Olsen is our biggest one so far with 4. Steve Brown has had the worst of it. He's lost 4 places, but kind of predictably, no real big movers or shakers at the moment, given the way that the track's laid out.
Yeah, not much of a chance to make moves. Driver on the inside, Mads, is that Daniel Lee? Or is that Dean Powell? It is Dean Powell who's had to come into the pits. That could be because he's taking quality fuel. We've seen it for drivers in the past, or maybe he's having to serve a penalty. I don't know how he would, because when you're that far down, you don't usually are able to serve a penalty in that situation. But there we are. Very unique to this circuit as well, in terms of you can pretty much see snakes of cars wherever you are. Particularly at the end of race 2, we'll see cars littered around the circuit, and in the background of every shot you'll be able to see another battle go on. It's really a very tightly knit circuit this, the massive grandstands we have at these super speedways. You'll be able to pretty much see all of the action. But single file for the majority of the order. Eichenberg though, under pressure from McMahon. We might just have to go back to that, because for a moment the gap was down to a 10.5. And McMahon is really on the tail at the moment. They can take all of that painted stripe, by the way. They just have to rejoin by the time that the NASCAR Turn 3 starts. And Eichenberg having to move his car to the inside. That BMW is wide, but is it going to be wide enough to keep the forward behind?
He's doing well enough so far. McMahon isn't usually the one that will make early moves and try and get a job done. He usually sits with whoever's out front with him, and they build a gap, don't they? They just kind of take their time, get a gap, and then fight the last couple of laps. But he's looking like he really wants to get past Eichenberg at the moment. I wonder if he's just a little bit concerned about Lee, who's had a little bit of a slower start, but he's right there. Still in contention, absolutely he is. So I just wonder whether he's got one eye on Lee behind him, maybe just thinking that he needs to get in front of Eichenberg and pull a gap if he can.
If he can make a move, you'd surely think that that would be the end of the race for the win. Such is McMahon's pace and the rarity in which he gets overtaken. This time he's a bit further back than he was. He was within 2/10 on the last lap. That could be the best opportunity for the overtake, because the final chicane is a little bit more narrow, going fast through the left. And it's quite easy for the driver ahead to defend. But I think that's what Eichenberg's going to have to do again here. Cannot afford to be caught out by McMahon. He always had an opportunity to make for the dive there, but see how quick that chicane comes up on you. Again into turn 1. McMahon looking to the inside. And Eichenberg at the moment, Adam, it doesn't feel the need to defend. He's quite happy to just down the racing line.
He always comes across as quite an inflappable kind of guy. He will just continue doing his lines. He will continue putting the car where he feels comfortable. And then basically saying to you, well, you know, if you're going to throw one up late, then go for it. We'll see how that pans out. But he's doing a sterling job so far. I do wonder how punishing this track will be on the tyres. There's no real heavy braking zones, is there? It's all very fast and flowing. So maybe not in this race, in race 1, but certainly in race 2. We could have some problems towards the end of the race with tyres, surely.
You would think so. You would, yeah, definitely think so by the end of race 2 in particular. At the moment, just not a lot of movement at the moment. There's really not a lot of movement. I'm carefully looking across at the timing screen, and you can see it on the time tower. I mean, you can blink more than twice, and we've got a move out there. Just the drivers keeping these places. This is kind of what we thought. The overtaking, a little bit of wake as well in these guys. Zachary Grafson's just got past Poles. Poles still leader of the amateur drivers though. The amateur being represented by the blue background position box, and the pros by the purple slash red. But yeah, Grafson up into 16th. Grafson did start in 9th place. You know what happened to Grafson actually off the starts? I don't quite recall what happened to the Ferguson Sports red car. I wonder if that was actually more recently, or maybe lap 2 that he lost all those places, because everyone on that one seemed to get away quite evenly.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing any incidents pop up for him. He was 8 positions down from where he started. Now he's got back past poles. He's down to only 7 places lost. But yeah, I didn't see anything pop up for him. I did see one for John Tressida, I think it was, who had an issue on lap 2. He was stationary for a little bit, but then got going again. But yeah, nothing for Grabson. Here's Tressida. Just run right into the wall. Oh, that's going to leave a mark. Nose dives in. Hold your brakes. Everyone gets past him clean enough. But yeah, that's the one that I saw for John Tressida. But yeah, no idea what happened to Grabson.
I mean, a lot worse there. Tressida could have easily had a track blockage. I mean, we're kind of going for another kind of wacky circuit for this round 3. Might be something that we do for future seasons as well, where actually just someone cutting the chicane. I think that may have been Austin. No, sorry, it was Mark Karen. But last season we had Phillip Island, which was our kind of wacky circuit. This year or this season it's this track. They are so different. Phillip Island actually a very good circuit in terms of safety. So much space on either side of the circuit. Really banking can often be the blockage rather than the fencing. And just using a couple of places there was Stephen Leahy back down to 26th place now. So he's now 9 places so far. And a driver who's been going forwards in all the races so far this season after having 4 qualifying this season. Well, this race it's very much the opposite. He's only to 26th. Wonder if he's running with a little bit of damage. But yeah, if we do have an off, particularly at the front of the order, could be big trouble for these guys.
I wonder, is it possible to get slowdowns here? He just seemed to feather out. I can't see any visible damage on that car, but he did just seem to get out the way. Oh, on his front right, change that. Yeah, he's got a big old bruise on the front right fender. Wow. Yeah, how did I not see that first time round?
That is crapping quite a bit, it seems. He's going to do well to get that to the end, but, well, he does have a fast repair, remember. So he can come into the pits and still score points and finish on the lead lap for 1 lap down. I think if I were Leahy right now, I would be doing that and at least finish the race and get a handful of points in your belts. Otherwise, he could have a bigger issue and not be able to get to the pits race.
No, absolutely. Yeah, the last thing you want around here is a car that's not handling properly, because those walls will swallow you up. Can I just say, by the way, loving the Fuga liveries. It's been a couple of rounds since I've done a livery thing, but yeah, the Fuga ones we see, wow, that's quite a late move for Grabson. Oh, he's ended up cutting the chicane. Couldn't get it slowed down enough. He's going to have to give that place back. Probably going to serve a slowdown as well. But yes, I'm a big fan of that livery. It took me a while to realise that it was different styles on each side. Is it an asymmetrical? Maybe is that what it's called? Either way, it's glorious, and I really like it.
I think you're right on the terminology. We do have the best livery of the season in other, at least in the Apex Racing Academy League, in the F3 we've had it, and the GT4 Championships as well. We've had it for a couple of seasons. Maybe it could be something we do for GT, but I know I'm not a big fan of these ones because I think everyone puts in such a lot of effort for their paint, so it's kind of tricky. Oh, as the lead is very close, down to a 10th of a second again. And to go right to the inside there's Eipenberg. Mark can't go around the outside there, can he?
Oh no!
I think it was there, as also Lee is going to take profit from this. McMahon was way too acute into the second part, and this could be Suzuka Race 2 last season all over again, with Eipenberg versus Lee for the win, because McMahon just got all out of shape, and that was strange there, right there, Adam, because I thought McMahon was in a position to go around the outside. It seemed to say he was later on the bricks, but he just seemed to turn out of the corner and really put himself off the line.
I think the trouble is with this place is that these guys have all been doing their running on their own. So when he's gone to the outside here, we can see it now. He's got a beautiful run off the oval bank in there, goes to the outside. And then when he gets there, he realises, well, actually, this is a whole lot tighter than I think it is from this position. Never been out that wide before. Gets a swap run, collects it back up, but in the time it took him to do it, Daniel Lee pounced on the opportunity. He's not going to want a second invitation, is it? He's going to take it straight away. And yeah, McMahon, wow, that's an uncharacteristic mistake.
he has made mistakes before at I think Phillip Highland. He had a spin, didn't he? And also Le Mans last season as well. He had a little bit of a spin. But it's a rarity. It is a rarity. Remember, won 9 races last season. Should have been 10, but a hardware failure at the last race of the season denied him that opportunity. That was out of 16 races. But so far, just 1 out of 4, and it's like it's going to stay at that one in this 5th round of the championship. Gravson onto the back of Callum Wright now. Ford versus Porsche. Gravson not getting past. Remember, Gravson got a reverse grid pole. That's a lot of curve there. Now, it's a bit too much. You need to take a lot of that curve, but not that much. He did get reverse grid pole for race 2 at Road America, and that's very good for him. Managed to take home a 2nd place there, just behind his teammates on that day. Arthur Godsick, of course. So he's in this position. He's risking the same fate at the moment, because if we did have the reverse grid, then that would be he would guarantee to be within the reverse grid.
We can really see how hard it is to pass here. He's right on the coattails of Wright, isn't he? But he just hasn't. There's not enough straight anywhere to get a decent run to get yourself alongside. You really have to be literally bumper to bumper to make moves here, it seems, which is yeah, I knew it was going to be tough. I didn't realise it was going to be just this tough. Wow, it's certainly something. And you said about McMahon's incident at Phillip Island. I did have a chuckle because I suddenly remembered that half the field fell off at corner 2, didn't they? We were having a real issue there. Everyone was just running wide. You see McMahon right on the back of Daniel Lee now. Lee hasn't been able to get away. We thought that McMahon would gather himself and get back on it again. He's right on the back of Lee now, giving him no rest whatsoever.
Quite clear that McMahon is the fastest driver out of these top 4, and therefore you'd assume the entire order. He just hasn't been able to use it. It was a shock when he didn't take pole position. He was the fastest in practice. As here comes McMahon, he gets his car alongside. And Lee just opened the door slightly, and that's easy for McMahon in the end. Lee will try to retaliate into the bus stop, but he's not going to be able to make his way around there. Now he's very acute, and Crouch is right on his tail. Crouch trying to move alongside. He will be regretting that he just back out of that one a bit early and follow the normal racing line, because now his podium position is under threat from behind. Lee already with 3 podiums, I believe, this season. I will check in a second. Two podiums, apologies. In fact, actually, I can't believe I haven't brought this up yet, Adam, but it's a lovely stat so far for him. I am just loading it up. So far this season, Daniel Lee has finished 3rd in both race 1s and 7th in both race 2s. That's fantastic.
My notepad is crying again. It doesn't have these type of stats written on it. Now, just going back to that move from McMahon, he was very, very clever with that. You could see how late he left it before turning in, just to basically hang Lee out to dry. He knew that from his own experience how tough it is to come in at an acute angle like that. So he just left it right to the very last moment to turn in, give Lee the hardest possible run through. And in the end, it looked easy for him. I am interested to see whether Crouch can make any moves on Daniel Lee now. Although Crouch, he was kind of being left behind a little bit, wasn't he? Not that he's running slow or anything, but he's just not quite the same pace as the front three.
Just dropping back slightly. Alex Moore's having a great race. Me and Mark Chanter are having a compatibility for a moment, because I suddenly realised how well Alex Moore was doing. Yeah, up in 8th place, another debutant to the championship. Also, of course, another driver for Puga Sim Sports, and unfortunately, the Puga Sim Sports boss, John Gordon, not going to be able to take part in the rest of the season. But hopefully everything's all right with John, and hopefully we see him back very soon. Hopefully he's watching along, and hopefully he's having a decent time wherever he is. And so yeah, we hope to see him back soon in the championship. But his team is doing him proud at the moment. Alex Moore up in 8th place. Luke McCowan just behind him for Vulcan Simulating. Quincy Chambers rounding out the top 10. Jones versus Olsen is looking quite good a bit though. Then we have occasionally glanced at Tobias Olsen. He's got a little bit of screen time already because he seemingly always on the tail of a driver. And this is the same situation again. Looks like Olsen has got ahead though of Ryan Jones up into 24th place now.
He has indeed, and just when you think it's going from bad to worse, you look in your mirrors and there's Jonas Bodin right behind as well in the Hell Racers BMW. He moves out early for this really fast right hand up the hill over the brow. He just hooks it up nicely, doesn't he? Just doesn't even run him out wide, just carries the momentum on the inside. I think, to be honest, I think Jones done the right thing there, just eased out, knew it could get a little bit tricky coming back onto the oval. And unfortunately for him, it looks like Bodin has got past as well in that little shake-up. So rough couple of laps there for Jones, but Olsen and Bodin, yeah, doing really well. 9 and 7 positions gained for the pair of them.
Bodin, of course, starting from the pit lane after he collided with Tom McMahon at Monza in race 1 when they were leading the race 1 and 2. Stephen Leahy has had an issue. He's down to 30th place now, is Leahy. He made a mistake into 1. Just disappears on my screen. Is he disappearing on your screen as well? I don't know if he got a connection issue.
Yeah.
So
flicking around.
That's why it's popped up on our screen. But he has dropped back lately. I mean, he's down 13 places. He was dropping back earlier on as well. But as long as he scores points, then that's all right. 30th place. That's still 10 points, I believe, you get for 30th place. 60 for the race win. So 10 points is not too bad. Of course, you do get 1 drop round as well out of your 8 meetings. Alex Moore has dropped behind Luke McCowan, down to 9th place now. And the Vulcan Sim Racing car up 4, the most places gained by anyone in the top 20 places.
We saw he took a really wide line there, didn't he, in the, I suppose what is essentially the first horseshoe. It was kind of entertaining reading the Discord in the build-up to this race. The drivers all wanting to know where they could take liberties with the track limits. They're all wanting to absolutely maximise what they can get away with here, which is brilliant to see. It just shows that they're all uber competitive and they all want to try and get one up on each other. As we see McMahon right on the back of Eichenberg again, harking back to the opening few laps. Only 7 minutes to go. So it's going to be a race right to the wire here for these two. They've dropped Lee a little bit. He's fallen behind, although he did go quicker than McMahon on that previous lap. But yeah, I think it's a 2-horse race to the end now, Sam.
I think so. We're now getting into the part of the race where now you can see lots of different battles going on in the background in every single shot. Like I was saying right at the start, I didn't think the field would necessarily separate this much, but we have got some half a minute separating the top 19 drivers at the moment, so it's quite a divide. So yeah, if you're ever bored of the battle that we're following, just look across the side of the circuit, and I'm sure you'll see something else as well. McMahon 0.3 of a second behind. If anything, into this first chicane, maybe a little bit too far back, and he's always kind of as close as he could want to be into the final chicane. He's always gets the gap down to about 1/10.5, but he's not quite getting himself within a margin that he feels would be a safe overtake. He doesn't have to win this race, McMahon. I believe he would potentially lose the championship lead if he didn't make this move on Eichenberg, but you know, it's still a good 52 points for him for second place. Stayed behind once again. Daniel Lee 2.5 seconds behind these guys and does lose time on that lap. Godsek actually catching up a little bit on these drivers in 6th place, just behind.
He is indeed. It's uncanny, isn't it? And most other tracks you think, oh, you know what, you just need to be a tenth or two behind and I'll get a run down the straight. Here you have to be about half a tenth behind. You literally have to be on the bumper of the car in front to be able to get a run, which is amazing. But Eichenberg, we know how strong a defender he is. He'll just keep parking his car in the way. They've got a little bit of traffic to deal with. They've got past one of the back markers. They've got another one just a little bit further up the road. You can see that on the track map. Number 1 is obviously the leading car, catching the number 31 at the moment. So hopefully they won't have too much problem there. But certainly in race 2, traffic could be a real thing, couldn't it, Sam? I didn't even think of that before, but seeing how much we're spread now, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, it sure will be. Will sure be a thing. Yeah, not something that we usually see. But drivers will have to be concerned about that later on. McCohen go at Humphrey, but now he's got Alex Moreau and his tail more. Going to the inside, had to run very wide the NASCAR 4, and now he gets put offline, and that's a horrendous amount of time that he's just lost. Has he got a slow down as well? Humphrey will try to get past. I think more cut the chicane enough to have a slow down. Watch out for that on the last lap, by the way. Quite often something that we see. Drivers go for a last-ditch move and getting a slow down, and then having to grind to a halt before the line. Eichenberg still in the lead. We've got a couple more laps to go after this one. 2.5 seconds back to Daniel Lee.
McMahon literally looking like he's pushing him round at the moment, isn't he? He's got so close, just a couple of corners behind, a couple of corners ago, and yeah, it looks like he's pushing him round. McMahon is he struggling for ideas, maybe? Surely not. Surely he's got a plan. He always has a plan.
Is this his master plan coming up? To the outside, the BMW's quick down the straights, we believe. Certainly is in the Aussie Mix and Fix GT Championship. McMahon can't go around the outside, he'll go down the inside. It's the outside though for the chicane. Is he through McMahon? There's contact between the two of them, and into the wall is Dennis Eichenberg. But McMahon is past, and Lee will try to pounce on that error as well. But that was a very good move in the end for McMahon. Eichenberg slow out of the bus stop. And when the opportunity arose, McMahon managed to find the gap and made it work around the outside. They should both be all right in terms of damage. I think Eichenberg would have come off worse there. But that was fantastic ingenuity. You were saying, had he run out of ideas? But he just had to persevere there. He went for the part of the circuit that Eichenberg wasn't taking, and he made it work.
Eichenberg just gave him the smallest of gaps, didn't he? It didn't even look like a car's width, but somehow McMahon got himself alongside. See Grabson having some issues. Oh, there's a slide. And there's the wall. His car looked kind of lurched there and it raised up. I'm not sure if he's got some other issues on the other side, but yeah, McMahon just kind of forced his way through. Eichenberg just didn't want to give it up, did he? He was going to race it all the way to the track limits. And McMahon, just brave as anything, throwing it up that the outside then inside on the chicane and getting the place. Eichenberg nowhere to go, had to get out of it before he clattered into the wall even more. You see Bowden now having a good old scrap with Bingham right behind.
This could be within the reverse grid places. The reverse grid ranges from 16 cars to 24 cars, I believe. And so they're in amongst that. Daniel Silvi Sabo is too far back and he'll be starting from the pits anyway. Come race 2. But he is up into 25th. Good move there on Ryan Jones, who has been falling back on the most part. Copeland, I think, is going past Joseph Saul as well. Former half teammates. In fact, was Copeland in B team? Or yeah, he was. Copeland was B team, and
Yeah.
Saul was B team as well. Was Saul B team? Or am I getting that wrong?
Or was he C team? Because they had another one as well, didn't they?
Okay, it's all the same then.
They're from the same stable.
Yeah, but not anymore, of course, after there was a slight divide. Saul moving teams. Humphrey ahead of McCohen, although they are swapping places at the moment. That's McCohen attacking. No, so that is Humphrey attacking McCohen after Humphrey, of course, got past Moore a while back. Quite a bit further down the track. Not that far to be fair. But Humphrey not getting past as they move on to the last lap. We've just about managed to edge in another lap. And the top 4 separated by 2 seconds at the moment. With just a few corners to go.
Certainly now biting time. If you're in that top 5, any mistake from any of them could either win it or bin it for all of them. They're that close. They're just about coming onto the oval once more. McMahon got a little bit of a gap. He can not take it easy, but he can be cautious. and careful as he comes into the last chicane. Another job done for McMahon.
Yeah, he won Monza Race 2, of course. He was leading at Monza Race 1. Had to work hard for this race win. Eibenberg put up a fantastic defense, but McMahon had the pace. And he eventually managed to get ahead. He's going to extend his championship lead. Tom McMahon for Evo SR, car number 1, wins again in the Apex Racing League GT Championship. Race 1 at Charlotte Roval goes to him. Eibenberg and Lee rounding out the podium. It's a third position in race 1 for Daniel Lee, which makes me water my mouth when I say. The others now crossing the line, so Derek Holland a lap down. Top of the amateur tyres will be Adam Coles, which is a phenomenal race there. But Adam Coles, the rookie driver, and that is a sensational performance from him. Brabson will finish in 17th place despite a spin. Max Wolf, plenty of places gained in 18th. But yeah, great drive there from McMahon. That was just waiting for the opportunity against Eibenberg. He really wasn't aggressive out there, Adam, until he was. But once he got alongside, he wasn't going to let it go. And remember, he had to get past Daniel Lee as well. All of that in 25 minutes, whilst others just couldn't overtake. McMahon made it possible.
He certainly made it hard for himself by dropping behind Lee, didn't he? But it shows once again that he is a class act, and he's driven incredibly well to get that win. It was robust. You know, he had to make that move stick. It could have easily ended in tears for the pair of them, but managed to make it stick.
So it's Tom McMahon who wins out for the second time this season. I was about to say how many races he's won in the championship overall, but in GT history, that is his 12th, along with winning races in American GT and British GT as well. But it's another race win for the car number 1. Eibenberg in second place. Lee, again, 3 consecutive third places in race 1. Love it. James Crouch finishes in 4th for Vanguard. Sim Sports, then it was Arthur Godzik and Powell. Quite race for Powell, but he does well in America, doesn't he? The American driver. Luke McCurran in 7th. Then it was Bob Humphrey, Alex Moore, and James Salt. Behind that was Chris Vandenesse, Matty Chambers, Mark Hutchinson, Adam Coles, Callum Wright, Tom Stevens, Mads Gravson. Max Wolf guarantees a reverse grid position. Although I can't remember if it's 16 or 18 the minimum. We'll see in a bit. Jonas Bowden from the pit lane gains 13 places. He could be on reverse grid pole, Bowden, which would be absolutely massive for him. He needs to try to catch up some points after picking up a penalty last time out. Kev Copeland was in 20th. Then it was Joseph Saul, Tobias Olsen, Tom Bingham, Jensen Adjunson, Daniel Civisabe, Ryan Jones, Emil Winbo, Kevin Kitzelman, Stephen Leahy, Dean Powell, Derek Holland, Rob Winter, Mark Hearn, John Tressida, and Steve Brown. The top 32 there all scoring points because they finished either 1 lap down or no laps down. And we will bring in Mark Chancer now, who is doing a fantastic job on the broadcasting side of things today. And Mark, have we got the reverse grid wheel prepared?
Good evening. Yes, it's ready to go. We'll give it a spin.
Have you got the music? I mean, no worries if not. I don't think we've had the music for a while.
Anyway, it's landed on 14.
I didn't realise it went that low. 14. Adam Coles then will be on pole position for race 2. The Indy Autosports Gold driver taking pole position. Callum Wright alongside him on the Mark Hutchinson alongside him on the front row of the grid. Good opportunity for the race leaders from race 1 to move their way up through the order. We'll be back with you on Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network in about 10 to 15 minutes. See you then. welcome back to the Apex Racing League GT Championship live on Apex Racing TV and live on the iRacing Esports Network. Once again, my name is Sam Fitzpatrick. Once again, alongside me is Adam Hedgecock with Mark Chancer on the cameras tonight. And we are just preparing for race 2 of the evening. We had a 25-minute race 1. Now jump into a 40-minute race 2 even. A small reverse grid, Daniel. I thought the smallest reverse grid we had was like 16 or 18. Turns out it's 14. Whoever wrote the rules clearly did a really good job with all the decisions that they made. And it gives the front runners from race 1 a real good chance at perhaps getting back onto the podium in race 2, because we were fearing with a larger reverse grid it'd be tricky for them to get back to the front, but with a small reverse grid it's a whole lot more possible.
I can tell what you were reading when you started that sentence, because my name's not Daniel. But yeah, I think there's a huge sigh of relief from the front guys at the end of race 1 there when they saw that reverse grid wheel. It would be so tough to get through the pack here. The smallest it could possibly be works in their favour, but they've still got to get the job done. They've got to get it done clean as well. And we know the guys who are going to be up front at the start of this race, they won't want to give away anything if they don't have to. They're racing for themselves, so it's going to be tough still. Just made that a little bit easier by only being 14.
Sorry about that, Scott.
Haven't we done this already? What
we've done this. Honestly,
was it
I was fine. I was fine for years when it comes to names, and then you come in here. I'm like, Adam who? Adam Coles is on the pole position, being the Autosports God, the only amateur driver within the reverse grid positions. It could be a big points ball for him. If he can consolidate on this one. Mark Hutchinson starts in second place. Was dropping down a little bit, Hutchinson, near the end of that one, I believe. But it means that he starts further up the race, so it's not too bad. Fantastic shot as well of the cars lining up. Then it's Matthew Chambers, Chris Banzanese, James Salt, very quiet in race 1 actually, Salt, but he's always very strong in race 2. He hasn't won a race for a while though, has James. Then it's Alex Moore, Bob Humphrey, Luke McCowan, Aaron Powell, Arthur Godsick, James Crouch, Daniel Lee, Dennis Eichenberg, race 1 winner Tom McMahon, Dennis Callum Wright, Tom Stevens, Mads Grafson. He had a tricky race. Max Wolf, watch out for him from 18th. Once again, his qualifying name down. Jonas Bowden will be very quick from 19th. Kevin Copeland in 20th. Then it's Joseph Saul, Tobias Olsen, Tom Bingham, Jensen Adrianson, Daniel Sibi Sabo, Ryan Jones, Emil Winbo, Kevin Kissman, Stephen Leahy, Dean Powell, Jake Holland, Rob Winter, apologies, Mark Heron, he had a bit of a mad control by Heron, so well done. John Schuster and Steve Brown in 35th place. Also, yeah, Sibi Sabo was taking the start. I think Sibi Sabo was going to start from the pit. We will have to serve his pit lane start for the next race. But Coles from the pole position. Anyone in that top 5 you think? Daniel, who you think could, I'm just going with it now, I may as well get it wrong every time, rather than get it wrong sometimes. Yeah, any chance of one of those drivers on the front 2 rows of the grid, holding on for a podium, or do you think it's just a matter of time until, McMahon and Co manage to get their way through? I
think, no disrespect to anyone in that top group there, we've seen time and time again, McMahon, Eichenberg, Lee, they somehow find their way back to the front, don't they? So it's going to be tough, but I still think it's a matter of time. The interesting one for me, actually, there's 2 there that kind of stand out. Matty Chambers and James Salt. If they could get a move done early, maybe they could possibly get enough gap to make it stick, but it's going to be tough for all of them out there. And of course, if there's an issue anywhere up or down this train, that's going to impact a lot of drivers, so it could be a big roll of the dice for everyone.
Yeah, the safety car is primed. If we're going to have a safety car this season, it will be here. We're not going to Watkins Glen this season, fortunately, so no risk of that one. We nearly got one at Road American Race 2, but with the smaller reverse grid, hopefully it all works out fine for these drivers. No pit stop required. Of course, the drivers can go to the end of this 40-minute race on a single tank of fuel. If you're gonna make your overtakes, you've got to get it done on circuit. Adam Coles from the pole position, the amateur driver, will he be a little bit cautious? Will he allow Hutchinson past him in the early stages, or will he really fight this one? The Ford Mustang pace car about to pull in. We saw Eichenberg go mega early in race 1. Cole's hanging on for a little bit longer, but he will go surely before the chicane. Now he does go, and he has a big gap over the rest of the order. Bit of a hold up just behind. But so far, no changes up in the top 10. Just defending their position in the middle of the circuit. Great move from one of the Evo SR cars, maybe from up three, getting past Alex Moore with a bold move for one of the Porsches. And once again, they get through the first couple of corners very impressively. But it's Cole's lead by 1.1 seconds. It was a perfect start for him, just with the way that chicane worked. Matthew Chambers putting pressure on Mark Hutchinson, needs to get past Hutchinson right away if he's going to be able to get to leader and pull away, but he makes a big mistake there, and he puts him well off the rear end of the car ahead. Humphrey ahead of Moore. No changes for Lee's crash. Lee is in the wall. Daniel Lee, who's finished in 7th place in both of the race 2 so far this season, has been involved in a collision. And has he hit the wall himself? Oh, he's just lost it by himself, and that is so rare to see right there, Adam. Lee is such a consistent driver these days, but that is a massive mistake and a massive opportunity missed.
It certainly is, especially on a track like this where you can't just start picking places back again once you've made an error. That is monumental, and yeah, that's going to be a real tough pill to swallow for him. Maybe he's a little bit cold tyres, didn't get them warmed up enough on the pace lap maybe, just tried to get his power down, and round went the outside. See Powell now having a great little scrap with Godzik here. Powell getting the job done. Rumbles over that curving, trying to cover off Godzik on the inside. The drivers seem to be a lot more what's the term? They're throwing caution to the wind a little bit in this early running. They're trying to get these moves out. I think they realise how important it is to get these done. There's still 38 minutes left to go though, so is it imperative they get the moves done now? I don't know. I don't care. This is brilliant to watch.
Almost very close to the back of Eichenberg. That's a crucial battle, especially with Lee now gone. Those two probably are the favourites for this race. Bodan a little bit side by side further ahead. One of the Hell Racers cars. And also Kev Copeland. Oh, we've got a spin around as well with Tom Bingham dropping well down. Joseph Saul in a battle with Max Wolf. Wolf down one place. This is what I thought. Wolf just absolutely crushed by his qualifying speed. If he just qualified half a second faster in these rounds, he would just be so much further up the standings. He leaves himself with so much to do in race 1. He knows that, but hasn't quite addressed those issues so far. Hutchinson has dropped down. Where is Mark Hutchinson? Was in second place. Mark Chancer doing a fantastic job on the cameras, and he has surely just made a spin himself. He loses it very early on and hard into the wall for Mark Hutchinson. And again, a driver so far this season, Adam, he has not made many mistakes, and it's an uncharacteristic one there as McMahon just staying ahead of Crouch at the moment. That's not a move for no, it is a move for McMahon actually. Vanguard Simsports dropping plenty of places right now. They're down to 12 and 13.
They are. Of all the tracks you don't want your errors to come at, it's this one. It's just got nowhere to go. If you get the spin, just get a little bit of oversteer. There's just walls everywhere. It's so unforgiving. Last time out at Monza, you could afford to make these kind of mistakes, but you just cannot do it here. And it's showing. Coles, though, wow, he's out there. He's going for it. He's not as quick as the guys behind, but he is holding his own. He is leading this race, and he is leading it well.
No one able to knock him off his perch at the moment, but really anyone from the top 11 drivers, maybe throw Grafson in there as well, and Crouch still winning this race, maybe even Bowden from 15th place, although he would need some stuff to go on ahead. Humphrey, up 3 places so far is Bob Humphrey. On a charges, Humphrey, he got ahead of James Salt. Which I don't know how he did that, to be honest, because Humphrey, I swear Humphrey was where he started in 7th place, but he's suddenly up into 4th. And he can see the leader just ahead. Remember, won race 6 of the season last season at Phillip Island. Another wacky circuit. And he's risking doing the same thing again. Humphrey, a driver who has got himself into this position in the past, sometimes does make mistakes. He's looking faster than the 3 drivers ahead of him. Chris Bandinetto, apologies for Bandinetto, by the way. Mark Spencer might have a go at addressing that one on the time cover. We'll try to fix that for the next race. Strong over the curves for Humphrey. And he's down the inside into turn 1. Humphrey goes for it. And he's up into 3rd place. And next up is his teammate, Matty Chambers.
Great move from Humphrey there. Supreme confidence. He's driving really well. Race 2 at Monza last time out. He was leading it for the most time, wasn't he? Until McMahon caught him. And as he said in the interview, you know, he's just there's no point in racing McMahon. You let him go. You know, it's not necessarily team orders, but you know that you know who you're racing and who you're not. And yeah, he drove really well there. So I think he's really full of that confidence still from that round, and he's going to be eyeing up that top spot. But he has got Matty Chambers ahead of him, who we know can be incredibly quick as well. Who's that in the background making a move? James Salt and Van der Nessa getting pretty close coming into the chicane. Managed to sort themselves out before any harm was done. But yeah, drivers, they're deciding that they want to get the moves done. They want to get them done early, and they want to go after this lead.
Here comes Chambers. Chambers into the lead, but he's missed the chicane by a country mile. Surely he's gonna have to give up that place. We'll get a slowdown, but I don't know how big the slowdown is. He was massively overshot this one. Has he given up the place at the moment? In fact, I feel like Chambers may have got away with that one, because Coles wasn't quick over the chicane himself. There he was, cutting the chicane, and at the moment Chambers still leads. So that was absolutely going across the track, and well, I know Chambers leads the race. I don't know if we should do anything about this right now. I don't know, but iRacing control the track limits, and Chambers, by skipping the chicane, has taken the lead.
He has indeed. I'm a little bit gobsmacked that wasn't a slowdown for him. Of course, it is one of the inherent problems of running these type of leagues. If you don't have live stewarding, there's not a lot you can really do about it if iRacing aren't checking it themselves. You see there Bowden making a move there. Someone in the background spinning on the inside on the infield there and hitting the wall. But yeah, live stewarding would be a great thing. I'm sure they would ask him to return the place, because that was certainly gained by an unfair advantage. And now Humphrey is also past Coles. Missed that one. But yeah, Humphrey up to second as well.
That's a sandwich potentially, an answer Godsick sandwich, but he's got through it. He's got McMahon just ahead. Oh, into the wall is Powell, and Powell's that's going to be pit lane damage there for Aaron Powell. Was on for a good heap of points. 6th place in race 1, I believe. And was running in the top 8 in this race as well, but not anymore, and that's not great news as well. Oh, as he spins round, really struggling. He wants to get back to the pit so they can finish on the lead lap and have a run at maybe the drivers near the back of the order at the end of the race, but really struggling to keep control of the car. Humphrey got past Coles at the bus stop on the last lap. And now, James Stott is going past Van der Nesse. Taking him a while. He had this an attempt a few laps ago, but finally James Stott is ahead. But I imagine Stott will be frustrated with this one, seeing his teammates Chambers and Humphrey pulling away in the lead, and he is already 3.5 seconds between them. Humphrey has taken the lead though. Humphrey into the lead of this race, and that seemed very generous from Matty Chambers. Whether that's an overhang from the when he cut the chicane earlier on. And Humphrey, oh, so I can see this one there.
He just seems to get a better run out of the chicane there. Matty Chambers goes high and wide. I think he's expecting this. Yeah, it just gives plenty of room. Looked almost choreographed. Now, we've spoken to these guys before, And they say that there's definitely no team orders going on, but that just looked very, very choreographed. I'm wondering, you see Chambers dropping back a little bit from Humphrey. I'm wondering if he's now sort of thinking, well, maybe that's protestable, gaining that position. Maybe he's going to try and give the position back to Coles and kind of get away with one, and then try and pass him again. Normally you see Eipenberg and McMahon having a little battle, both getting past Luke McKeown just then as well. So a bad lap for McKeown so far.
McKeown hit the wall and he's going to have to come to the pits. You can see the damage on that car. That's a shame for McKeown. As he's now wide as well. A bit like the issues that we saw for Aaron Powell. And McKeown will have to come to the pits, get the fast repair done. But here comes McMahon. He's done it once already on Eipenberg into this corner. Eipenberg was done by the outside into the chicane, so I imagine he will stay tight on the inside of NASCAR 3 and 4, and risk giving up the inside for the final chicane, but be willing to give it up. With these two fighting, they are compromising their progress through the order, and they are now 6 seconds off the race lead. But they are matching the race lead, so they're not losing much time anymore. They did just do a 14.3, which is half a second faster than Eipenberg and McMahon. I'll be playing himself in a very good place at the moment. Memphis started down in 7th place, but leads the race 1/4 the way through. Jonas Bowden up into 11th now, and he's got James Crouch just ahead of him. This is really showing Bowden's pace, because Crouch was fighting for the win in race 1, and Bowden seems to have the advantage right now.
Does, driving well again. We saw him come through the order. Coles, I've just seen that as well, yeah. What has happened there?
And he's had another incident now. He got hit round again. He collided with Van der Nesse, was it? It wasn't. I don't think it was Van der Nesse. But that was by himself. And then James Crouch was the one he collided with.
That could have been so much worse as well. Just a glancing blow there. Crouch able to continue. It was a good job that wasn't in the Audi TCR, because he'd have probably had suspension damage from that little glancing blow. But got away with it. Unfortunate for Coles, driving so well. Down in 20th place now. That is such a shame. I really feel for him, because he was doing a great job. Maybe if Matty Chambers hadn't crossed that chicane, it wouldn't have put the pressure on Coles to keep up with him. I'm not going to point any fingers.
And if Matty Chambers' mum hadn't given birth to him, then the whole problem wouldn't have been a thing, would it? It's my attitude to that type of thinking. Good old chaos theory. I know, and you know my views on this, Adam, when it comes to stewarding. That chain reactions shouldn't be a thing. Anyway,
the butterfly effect, they call that, don't they?
Butterfly effect, absolutely, yes. Meanwhile, further down, McKeown with a pit stop, he's up into 26th place. Now he's only 34 seconds off the lead. How's he only 34 seconds off the lead? In fact, he has pitted, has McKeown, so top of the drive, so he has pitted. Remember, they don't have to pit. So if you do pit for repairs, then that's like real bad. Whereas in other series, you might get away with it by just adjusting your strategy. In this, it's a net loss, so you cannot afford any mistakes. They will be paid, but you do get a fast repair at least to repair your car. Stevens in 13th, he's ahead of Callum Wright and Tobias Olsen, as we go back to Dennis Eipenberg, who is still ahead. Well, in fact, he's made up a couple of places. There you go, that was easy enough. Moore and Van der Nesse battling with one another, and Eipenberg and McMahon. Okay, we'll have that. If you're willing to give up your places, then yeah, we'll easily go through. Annoyingly for Artur Godzek, he got past neither.
Yeah, no, very unfortunate for Godzek. One of those heart in the mouth moments, isn't it, when you see a couple of cars having a little scrap up ahead of you? They kind of get out of shape. Oh, a little touch on the back of Stevens there coming into the bus stop chicane there. But yeah, you see a couple of cars having a scrap up ahead of you. You just hope that they don't have an incident, and when they run wide, you just hope that they've seen you, that you're coming through. Fortunately for Eipenberg and McMahon, they get themselves through. 4th and 5th now for them. McMahon gain 9, Eipenberg gain of 9. It's just insane moves really from them, the way that they've been able to cut through. Bowden with 10 A gain of 10 so far. Same as Dean Powell. I'm just looking at this. I haven't looked at this race so far. That's incredible. Emil Wimbo again with a gain of 11. He's loving this place.
The Swedish drivers making up plenty of positions at the moment. Yeah, good home, good run for them at the moment. And yeah, the Apex Racing Academy driver 1.3 seconds behind his fellow countryman, but catching by 0.8 of a second per lap. So we'll be on to him very soon. It looks as though actually it'll be Tom Stevens that he catches up to, because Olsen gets him past Tom Stevens now. He has got damage on that rear wing. And was very tentative as well into the bus stop. So I wonder if Stevens got a bit too much damage in order to be competitive. Still doing well though. In 15th place is the pro driver, no amateur driver, sorry, in the top 18. Daniel Lee, by the way, doing pretty well after that spin in 18th place. Eichenberg up into 4th place now, but he's still keeping behind McMahon. And he's doing a very good job at it still. This risk right now of being an EBOSR 1, 2, 3, 4, Adam, which I'm not sure if we've seen before. I think that they've got a 1, 2, 3 before, but might be get past Eichenberg. That'd be the top 4 places locked out, which is incredible dominance.
It is, and yeah, I remember when they got that 1, 2, 3. That was quite a moment for everyone, just to see how far they'd come and was able to engineer it. It worked really well for them. But I think Eichenberg is going to be a lot more aggressive with his defence in this race. He's not going to leave half a car's width. He's not even going to leave a quarter of a car's width. He is going to cover everything. He does not want to fall to McMahon again. We know how passionate he is about his racing and how hard he is on himself when things don't go wrong. He would have been kicking himself for giving McMahon the space. So I think this time round he's going to be just as robust as McMahon was with him.
Credit to Eichenberg, when we've been watching him at least, he hasn't made a mistake all day long. Because he... dear. Well, that'd be a funny moment if he doesn't have a crash at least. But if... apart from maybe that slightly poor exit from the bus stop, I don't know if you can call that a mistake when he lost the lead to McLaren in race 1. Maybe that's the only hint of it, but apart from that, he has not cut a foot wrong. Godsick can't get past Van Nesse. Godsick, who has won a race, remember, already this season. He won race 2 at Road America. But he cannot get past Van Nesse. He has been overtaken a few times so far. Godsick getting kind of on the wrong side of him there. You don't want to go up high with the banking. You can't go so much further. Fits back into the draft and now got Bowden right on the tail. There goes Arthur Godsick, but he's not going to make the chicane. And it didn't work out too badly for Chambers earlier on, but I feel as though Godsick's going to lose a lot more time here. And will most likely drop behind these guys. You'll let the BMW go there, risk being a bit of contact between the two of them. And Godsick. Oh, is that it? Is that it? Godsick just remained in 8th place there? Honestly, iRacing need to redo these slowdowns because, well, that's twice now. We're seeing a driver cut the chicane and barely have to slow down.
I feel really aggrieved for my slowdowns I get at Le Mans, where it takes me half a lap to bleed out the time on the opening lap. This is outrageous, the liberties they can take and not really pay penalties for it. Yeah, I'm a little bit... Well, I'm surprised it's not strong enough. I'm shocked at how little they've had to kind of pay back to iRacing for cutting these corners. That's... Wow. Has that always been a thing? Like I've said before, I've never been here. Is this always been the case?
Well, that's actually Godsick's going to go for a get. I mean, just cut the chicane, mate. Straight line there. What are you doing? Oh, that's contact and round again. Bodan makes contact. Godsick loses out. And Van der Nesse drops down to 9th. Well, that was close racing there. I don't think anyone's at fault here, to be honest. Maybe the BMW should have left a bit more space, but Godsick's barely got his car alongside. bit of net code as well, but would they have made contact regardless? Bodan at risk of getting a bit of damage, but he should be all right. Neto hopefully hasn't got any steering damage. He looks all right as well. But
I can
what
see
you
it now on the steward's report for that one. Should have cut the chicane, mate. End quote.
Yeah, that's a new steward's decision. Now should have cut the chicane. But back to your point on the slowdowns. I mean, I remember a not top 10 highlight from iRacing where a driver cut the chicane on the last corner of the race and had to pretty much ground to a halt. In fact, 2 drivers had to do it, and it was the most ridiculous end to the race you've seen because they were both slowing down, trying to serve the slowdown right before the start-finish line. So I thought the penalties were all right, but certainly the first time, totally cut the chicane, the Chambers. And, you know, iRacing, hope you're listening along, but because I've never seen this reported before, but it's clearly an issue that should be resolved. This is still with damage, gets overtaken by Sivi Sabo, whose meeting has pretty much been ruined by the pit lane start that he had in race 1. And he's up into 19th place now, halfway through the race.
I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more droopy rear wings on these cars, given how close the cars run the outside wall on some of these exits. The cars have remained pretty pristine, really, haven't they? I'm not going to say I'm pleasantly surprised, because that's a disservice to the quality of driver we've got here, but I am kind of a little bit surprised that the cars still look the way they do. Bob Humphrey, by the way, at 3.4 seconds out ahead. Now, I do have a little tinfoil hat thing with this, because just before Coles had his issues, Chambers dropped right back from Humphrey in quite an alarming way on the first few laps that he was behind. And Coles got to within about 3 or 4 tenths of him, having caught up all that time in. I do wonder whether or not he was going to try and give the place back. Maybe someone watching the stream had kind of given the info to him and said, well, look, you know, they're saying that it's maybe not a good thing what you've just done there. So maybe he was trying to engineer giving the place back, and then Coles had his issue. And now he's 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds now behind Humphrey in a bit of no man's land. Just struggling to try and catch up again. I do wonder if that's maybe a thing. Probably isn't, but maybe. I'd like to think in my head that it is.
I'm skeptical, personally, because we've chatted to Matt Chambers a little bit, and the thing that I gathered from our conversations with him is that he's a horrible person. I mean, morally corrupt, and so I don't think it would have passed his mind for a moment to give up that place. He's very greedy. From the interviews that we've had with him, and I think he'll keep that place. I think he'll be chuckling even now about how he benefited from that one. So throw that one out. In seriousness, I don't think he would have, because he let past Humphrey for some reason, maybe thinking that he'll get a post-race penalty or something, even though he won't, because, you know, iRacing control the track limits and we have to go by that. I think that opens a can of worms if the stewards start giving penalties for that. But he could have given the place back much sooner. There was a lap or so they had the opportunity, but he didn't do it. So Chambers in second place, and he's continuing to drop down at the moment, which is strange because Chambers usually has the same pace as Humphrey, but Humphrey just driving really, really well so far, and on course for his second Apex Racing League GT win, and 60 points for him. Very wide, one of the Porsches. Max Wolf also loses 3 places. I'm not quite sure why that is. Not too much damage, I think, on that car, and that is a shame for Max, who is still up 3 places from his start. By the way, we also had an issue for Emil Winbo, who dropped down the order a few laps ago. I think had a crash and had to tow back to the pits, but he is now back out on site. And should still score points because he's only 1 lap down at the moment, so he needs to keep a move on so that he doesn't drop a second lap down. They should be all right. Meanwhile, Ivanberg onto the back of Saltz, who is inexplicably struggling at the moment. Saltz currently lapping half a second slower than race leader Bob Humphrey, when, again, you'd expect them to be very evenly matched.
I wonder if he just had to go a little bit defensive a couple of times, maybe compromised his line. Ivanberg's right behind him. The trouble with Ivanberg is he's battling a team here. He's got Evo SR in front and behind. At the moment he tries to make a move on Salt, he's going to put him offline. We see McMahon ducking out behind in the rear view camera there.
Oh, he's lost it, and McMahon will go through. I don't think that was a hit, but we'll have to get maybe a replay of that one. Was there a hit from McMahon, or was this a self-mistake? It was a bit strange. It just went really hot. Yeah, nothing. In fact, he had it all right. He pulled a bit of a gap, but it just went in too quick.
Yeah, just carried too much momentum. It's going to sound really, really silly, but I often had that problem when I was racing the normal road layout of this, because it's the same elevation. In the MX-5, I would find that if I had too much momentum going over there, the rear end got really light, and that was probably the trickiest corner on the track for me. I'd always end up spinning it, trying to carry too much momentum over the top of the hill there. So it warms my heart and makes me feel better that drivers that are better than me can still do it in their cars as well.
We saw a bunch of mistakes earlier on in the Aussie Mixed and Fixed GT Championship, the season finale on that occasion. Of course, the championship going to Joshua Thomas. Congratulations to Joshua. It is approximately 6 in the morning on a Monday morning for Joshua right now, so he's probably watching. So well done to him for that title. Looking forward to that starting up in a couple of weeks again. Salt lifting off Russell Hamilton earlier on reminds me a bit of this. I was really looking forward actually to Hamilton versus Russell, because I thought it was going to be quite tricky for Hamilton to overtake Russell, because we still have the DRS. But once again, my expectations being disappointed, and well, it remains an Evo SR 1, 2, 3, 4, and now McMahon, you'd expect, will go catch Chambers as well, but he's got 8 seconds to catch up to a flying Bob Humphrey still, so that the lead is looking unlikely.
How many times have we thought that in the past, and somehow with a couple of laps to go, he's there. We've seen that a few times. I think back to the times, well, the 2 times that Mike Horder was way ahead. No particular reason I remember the Boosie faring in these races, but yeah, he was way out in front, and somehow McMahon caught up and was right there come the end of the race and snatched the win away. So can he do it? It's well within his capabilities of doing it. Is he that much quicker than Humphrey? I'm not sure. Maybe in race 1 he was, but this race he just doesn't seem. Mind you, he's been in traffic a lot, hasn't he? We see a move being engineered in the background there between 2 Evo SR Fords there. So yeah, team orders, team play. I don't know what's going to happen, Sam. I really don't. They keep saying they don't have team orders, but I don't know. I'm on the fence.
That was Powell, by the way, letting them go at the back marker. So they were if they want a well, I mean it's a guess. I don't know. But I'd say if you say it with if you say it with
convincing though.
If you say it convincingly, Adam, no one questions it. You see, you've got to be confident. Daniel Lee, the best driver in the world. Doing a great job. I actually went on M Signs UK, I think. And I don't want to, be done for libel here, but I'm not convinced by M Signs UK personally. I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah, if you're looking for signs, don't go there. It ain't do signs.
That's bold.
You know what? I state the facts. I don't filter my speech, Adam. M Signs UK do not sell signs. I'm saying it here, and probably I'll be cut off right here from them. But it's just the facts. Jensen Adjenson's running in 15th place at the moment. The car number 150. I haven't seen a whole lot of Adjensons, to be honest. Usually quite a flamboyant driver, always getting the qualifying, but had a quiet race 1. And a good race 2. He's up 9 places back to Maxwell, who's just making no progress as Maxwell in this race. Has had a couple of setbacks. I think he's got some damage as Maxwell, because he expects him to be much faster. These guys over half a minute off the lead, and you can see some crumples on the front of that GC. Unfortunately, as Wright is dropping down. Callum Wright, he's coming to the pits as Wright. Now, is that just fuel, or is that a mistake? I think it's just fuel here. I know, I think this was from a little bit earlier on. Oh no, he did crash. There you go. And then he's had to do an entire lap. No, he didn't do an entire lap. He just played right back. So shame for Callum Wright there. And that's bad news for high caliber esports as well, because they were doing well in the championship going into this round. They were up in up in 4th place in the championship. Had a chance to even take the lead of the championship. But not anymore.
So easily done, though, isn't it? How many times have we attempted a chicane, got the first bit wrong, and ended up spearing out somewhere? Let's look at the front of Bowden's car there. He's had some issues, hasn't he? That's properly crumpled as well. As we've seen before, though, with the BMW, he can remove the whole front end of that car, and it's still frighteningly fast. So I don't know how much that is bothering him. Up in 7th place, a gain of 12 positions so far. Our second highest mover in the field for this race. So I don't think it's hampering him too much. Seems to be coping okay with it, although he's got Grafson right behind him, trying to manufacture a move on him. Just a thing on Daniel Lee, when you were saying about him earlier, I did venture onto his YouTube and watch one of his videos not so long ago, and was horrified when, after the thing he was talking about, he seemed to have ended the video and then showed a picture of him putting water on his cornflakes.
Yeah, that shouldn't be on YouTube. I think.
I was mortified.
Should be reported that. I think some sites would host that, but they're not the type of I would go to. Other stunts being called by him is toasting his bread by turning on the toaster and putting the bread on top of the toaster. Right on top. And then also him doing his tea, where I believe he pours in the milk, then puts a tea bag in the milk, and then pours some hot water in.
Oh, no.
Absolute outlaw is Daniel Lee. Non-conformist, you know, some people love it. Personally, as a traditionalist, I'm not. And that was not great from him either, as being cut off behind as well after Jensen Atkinson's. Mark Heron, apologies, being cut off by all of that, overrun by the excitement bunch as well, just behind them. As Heron slowing a bit, I think that's just him letting past some drives, to be fair. Meanwhile, Chambers is ahead of McMahon still. Is Chambers just doing really well? I guess Chambers is just doing really well at the moment, and not yet caught up to the back of, or McMahon hasn't caught up to the back of them. 2.3 seconds still. The gap between them and Eichenberg still stuck behind Salt. That's fast for 4th and 5th.
Humphrey has completely checked out at this point. 6 seconds. He is in front of this little group, so he's well on his way. I'm just having a quick look at the driver map there. So Humphrey's already negotiated a couple of back markers. He's got a little bit of free space now. Then Chambers and McMahon. McMahon now up into 3rd and running well after that. And I suppose by his standards, it was quite a slow start, wasn't it? As far as his progress through the field was, but he's done well to get to 3rd. But they've still got a couple of cars between them and Humphrey out in the lead at the moment. That's a big old gap. I don't know whether they're going to catch. We've got 6 and a bit minutes left. Wow, that has flown by. I don't think they're going to catch Humphrey at this point. I'm going to have to get off the fence and say it.
All of a sudden, McMahon's just taken Chambers lost 2 seconds in the first sector on this lap. By the way, the first sector is 11.5 seconds long. So Chambers with a 13.7, McMahon with an 11.8. So there you go. Thanks to Mark Chancer for posting that up on our screen. So I thought he was comfortable. I was really confused why Chambers was so far ahead, and he was actually matching the car for a lap at least. Then lost half a second. Then on that lap loses nearly 2 seconds to the car number 1. But at the moment, he's not letting him go. You know, we're into the closing stages. Realistically, Chambers could hold McMahon up to the end of the race, and they have got 2.2 seconds to another one of their teammates. Hopefully there's no team wars on the podium, but I mean, Humphrey's got this one in the bag, as long as he doesn't bin it. He's well on course for another race win. And these race wins for Bob Humphrey, they kind of come out of nowhere, because, I mean, Humphrey, you know, he's a very good driver. Humphrey, he puts himself in a good position for race 2s, where he's going to get the majority of his success. In fact, last season, he scored the second most amount of points of anyone, I believe, in the race 2s. Even more than I think, going just behind McMahon. He was insanely good in the race 2s. And then, so he's always kind of just missing out on the podium, and then all of a sudden he gets a race win like this. It's very impressive.
He's certainly the master of race 2s, isn't he? It's good to see, actually, because Bob's a nice guy. Oh, a bit of contact with the wall there from McMahon. Got away with that one. Even now you can see he is pushing, and he is making sure that Chambers is going as quickly as he possibly can. It's great to see. I thoroughly enjoy watching these guys. It makes me miss the what were they called? The team with Caroni and
Satellite.
That's what. Yeah, the first when I first started commentating on this league, we saw them the first couple of rounds absolutely going hell for leather, weren't they? With each other, you know, no quarters given. They were racing like it was an official race, to be honest, and it was brilliant. And I'm glad to see that iRacing are continuing that now. It's definitely fun to watch and certainly enjoyable from my point of view. Absolutely, it is.
By the way, fantastic there to sport this. As Chambers and McMahon swapping positions. McMahon up into 2nd place. Right there. Chambers, I don't know if that was choreographed or not. As that was Kev Copeland. Honestly, so many EVSI cars out there. It's tricky to keep track of them all. Lap down, of course, is Kev Copeland. Great day of sport, this, honestly. I mean, after the Formula 1 result earlier on, another shock in Teneta. We might see a shock in this as well, with Humphrey taking a race win as well. Oh, that is a spin. And Bowden's off the circuit and into the wall. Now it is soft. That part of the barrier is softer than the proper hard barrier. That's still not ideal for him. More is, no, that's a back marker of Coles. I think Coles has already got his fast repair, so that might be no points for Alan Coles in this race too. And Grafson in 6th place there. I'm not quite sure what happened with all that. Was that just a slow back marker there, and then the drivers, including Boner, had to go well fast?
It looked like the back marker had a bit of an issue. He was trying to let the drivers around him through, and just got it a little bit wrong. Got a bit of a swapper on, and had a semi-spin that kind of sent more scattering. But they all managed to get through it, which was good. Bowden's car is already crumpled anyway, so a little bit extra isn't going to hurt. While that was happening, I'm just looking at the viewer here. Daniel Lee and Tobias Olsen switched positions multiple times. They were going for it as well. Lee, what a drive back from the back of the field for Lee. He's actually gained 1 position now from where he started, even after that early spin. Oh, here we go now. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Mr. Trent here, he's on it, isn't he? These replays, side by side through T1. Oh, Lord, look at this, side by side. This is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Neither of them wanting to concede. Momentum. Oh, a little bit of a squeeze out from Olsen there. Lee taking liberties all the way around the outside, carrying that momentum again up the hill. Wow.
Great move from Daniel Lee. I mean, we've seen, I've been working with Mr. Marco Barbanir for over 2 years now, and the way he makes an absolute meal of the replays. Can never find them. And you know, in stream you've got to be professional about it when he's there. But I mean, you've worked with him before, Adam, and you know how infuriating he is. And then someone like Mark comes in here, and he just does a great job. He does make it look easy. Jonas Bowden crosses the chicane. Should have commit to the crossing, Jonas. If you're gonna miss the chicane, put the power down, cut the chicane. Because you won't lose much time. Bowden in 8th place, and that's probably his chances of passing more over. But I think considering that he hit the wall at a decent rate into his front left corner, I think he should be quite happy that he's still going in this race, frankly. And 8th place will be some points for him, but he'll be hoping that this will be his drop round from the championship. Did get 10 penalty points for last meeting, plus a pit lane start. So that penalty has really scuppered his meeting. If you can't get within the reverse grid places in your race 1, then those pit lane starts in race 1 can really harm you. Out in the lead, it's the last lap. Bob Humphrey wins. It should have really been another lap because it's a 40-minute race, but there we are. Bob Humphrey has won for Evo SR Green. It's another Evo SR victory, and it's the first of the season for Bob Humphrey. His first in one season as well since his race 2 win at Phillip Island. And, well, it should have been another lap because we crossed the line with about 2 seconds over the 40 minutes, which would almost always be an extra lap. But on this occasion, it's not, and I'm sure Humphrey will be delighted. One less lap for him to manage, and he has taken a superb win. It is an Evo SR 1, 2, 3, 4. We believe a new record for them. Gold Racing Team have also had similar dominance in races, but an exceptional meeting for the team. And Tom McMahon finishing in 2nd place extends his championship lead. Dean Powell will be top of the amateur drivers. Dean sometimes makes a trickiness out of these races, but a good race too, and he comfortably wins that category. Ryan Jones impressively finishing in 21st place, the only other amateur driver on the lead lap. Like I said earlier on, Adam, Humphrey makes those race 2s look easy, doesn't he? He kind of gets to the front, he controls the pace, never a mistake in sight. And when he's left in that position, he's showing that he can be very effective. Win number 2 in the series.
It's it's crazy how when he gets into his zone, he just drives away, doesn't he? He just gets on it and doesn't look back. And yeah, fantastic drive from him tonight. Just got out in front, made the moves early, didn't he? Because didn't he start 7th place as well? So he's had to make the moves to get there. It hasn't been handed to him. And for sure, he's absolutely waltzed it tonight. Brilliant drive from him. McMahon as well. What a great drive to get up into 2nd place. And Eipenberg finishing 5th. That's still some mega points for him. So good night for all of those guys.
Yeah, I think plenty of happy people after this meeting. Bob Humphrey wins then, 7.4 seconds clear of Tom McMahon. Matthew Chambers a close 3rd. Strange what happened to Chambers with that with that issue in sector 1 and in the middle part of the race. Maybe he cut the chicane, maybe had to serve a slowdown or something, but or maybe just made a mistake. But that put McMahon on him, and McMahon finishes in a superb 2nd place. 1st and 2nd puts a cushion between him and the rest of the order in the championship. Chambers rounding out the podium there is James Salt, Dennis Eipenberg, Mads Grafson. Great drive actually from Grafson, under the radar, but 6th place is good. Alex Moore in 7th. Good day for Fuga Sports once again. There's Jonas Bowden, whose meeting was really compromised by his pit lane start in race 1. James Crouch and Chris van der Nesse in 9th and 10th. Daniel Lee unfortunately doesn't finish in 7th place. It was 3 consecutive 3rds in race 1. It's not 3 consecutive 7ths in race 2. But after an early spin, he will still be happy with that 11th place. Tobias Olsen finished in 12th. There's Jensen Adjensons. Dean Powell top of the amateur drivers. Mark Hutchinson did well actually to recover to 15th after some issues. Luke McCohen was in 16th. Max Wolf in 17th. Daniel Silvi-Sabe in 18th. There's Tom Stevens. Arthur Godsick with problems. Ryan James in 21st. There's Kev Copeland. Aaron Powell. Adam Coles. Kevin Kitzelman. Derek Holland. Tom Bingham. Bingham actually not scoring points, unfortunately. He was 2 laps down. Behind that was Joseph Saul, Callum Wright, Mark Heron, Emil Winbo, Rob Winter, Steve Brown, John Chester, and Stephen Leahy. We will now have a chat with some of our judges. We've got look at this. Look at
We've
this.
got a whole smorgasbord of drivers to choose from tonight, haven't we?
To be fair, at Monza we got quite a few, didn't we? But we'll have to be quite quick through these guys because well, we'd like to have a chat with as many as possible. First up, we'll chat with our race 1 winner, Tom McVine, and our race 2 second place as well. So congratulations, Tom. After a season where you've had a couple of setbacks, that race, or those 2 races, they weren't easy, but you get through them much cleaner and you get a huge points haul.
Yeah, that was more like it. That was, really happy with that. But gosh, that was intense. That was the most intense sim race I think I've ever had. That was ridiculous.
What, race 1 or race 2?
Both. Both of them were outrageous. Yeah, just insane.
So race 1, you are in second place near the start. Well, actually, word as well on your qualifying because you looked so good in practice. You were caught to the second clear, and then Dennis pips you by a couple of thousandths. I mean, was there more left in your qualifying time? Because
Yeah,
that was exceptional from Dennis.
I screwed up lap 1. So then I kind of gave myself a banker for lap 2, which I was really happy with. And then the way that I run my qualies, I do a 2-lap run, and then we'll go back to the pits for a 1-lap kind of shootout and kind of back myself to get 2 good laps in. And then going into turn 3, 4, I just carried too much speed and threw it away, and I was already a 10th up through turn 1. But no, great lap from Dennis, and I was so annoyed because I knew how hard it was going to be to overtake.
But you made it possible. You were sitting behind Dennis in the early stages. It was odd with the overtaking because we saw you on many laps only like half a car's length behind him into the last chicane, and yet you seem reluctant to go for the dive. Were you kind of waiting for a better opportunity, or was that literally for you just not a possible overtaking place?
In some of the practice that we've done, it's such a hard area to get right, and to be honest, we were both near the limit anyway, so I couldn't really, if I broke later, I didn't want to snatch a break, go straight on, and then get a huge slowdown because I think we had Daniel Lee, James Crouch, and maybe someone else like right behind. So I was kind of trying to weigh up the points. Then I screwed it up trying to overtake anyway. So then I dropped behind Daniel Lee. And then it was kind of a case of I'm not just gonna sit here and settle for third. So I wanted to get second back, and then got 1 run at Dennis. And kind of like this track, you just have to kind of force your way through. So it was forceful, but fair in my eyes.
And then race 2, not you didn't do a whole lot off the start, but once again, Dennis made it tricky for you. You must have been really relieved when he spun. And also, talk us through your strategy with your teammates. I mean, because it seemed as though James let you go pretty easy. What was going on with Matty as well? Because Matty all of a sudden seemed to lose like 2 seconds in a corner. It was very
Uh,
strange.
so yeah, race 2 was I was just survive, just don't do anything stupid. You can't really overtake in the infield, so I wasn't going to try anything and just see what happens. It's a long old race. People were going to make mistakes, which they did. And then so I was super happy just to kind of keep ticking things through when an overtake presented itself, trying to make it stick. And then so we don't have any team orders. Like Bob backed me up on that. But the guys are pretty sensible in terms of, so if I catch them 5, 6 tenths a lap, we're not going to waste time fighting each other, especially when we had 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, Salty did let me go, which I'm very appreciative of. And then I think Matty clipped the wall, and I think he may have bent his steering. That's definitely what it looked like on my screen. So I think he may have then lifted out of it, and made sure just to bring the car home in third rather than try and race me for second. That's what I think happened. I could be wrong, but yeah, he didn't let me go like when I caught him, so I don't think that would have changed. It wouldn't have made any sense for it to change if throughout the race. So, but yeah, what a mega result for us. I'm so happy with that.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. Congratulations, Tom. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just you guys for the awesome league, awesome stream. Can't wait to look to watch that back. And my teammates and all the guys that come and practice, and everyone in the league who also jumps in and feels like there's a bit of a community now where other people are starting to host sessions as well throughout the week. So just everyone, and I think the racing was really, really good tonight. So shout out to every single driver out there. That was wicked.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging chat with us, Tom. And yeah, best of luck next week.
Cheers, Sam. Cheers, guys.
Tom McMahon there, your championship leader, in with a chat with us. Adam, who would you like to talk to?
Well, I think it's only fair that we have a chat with the race 2 winner. We might as well do back to backs. Bob Humphrey, what a drive there in race 2. Sam and I were discussing it in commentary, saying that you're a bit of a race 2 specialist. You got that lead, and there was no looking back.
Yeah, James Salt always says that I luck into race 2 position, so I must be rolling the right dice for race 2. But yeah, I felt quick all week, to be honest. And, like, qualifying in the top 10 for me is good for race 1, and then I survived and finished 8th. And the pace just felt there. And yeah, race 2, it just all sort of fell into place. Matty was making a few mistakes, so I think he let me go. Obviously, I flashed him a few times. And then yeah, I just carried on. I don't really know. I was like Lewis Hamilton at Barcelona. I just sort of got in the zone and away I went. It was lovely. And to be honest, I had to do it for you, Adam, because at Monza, you said it's been too long and you needed to speak to me again soon. So, hello.
Hi, hello. Good to hear that people actually watch these streams after the races. That's brilliant. Well, now that we know that you lucked into this result and your teammates let you through and gift you victories, how much of a challenge is this track? Because I can only speculate. I've never driven here. How hard is it? How much focus do you need? And we know that you're quite a chilled out, laid back kind of guy. You know, it takes a lot to kind of rile you. How hard is it to keep that focus? And you know, does the team chat go really quiet on a track like this?
In quali, it was surprisingly quiet. And then every now and then you just get someone go, oh, for sod's sake, because they've hit the wall. But yeah, you've just got to sit there and just concentrate. Like I was saying to Dennis in the waiting room there, it's like I felt like the whole race I was just head down, just concentrating on the next car, eyes forward. Oh, there's a guy there on the wall, got to dodge him. You know, coming up onto lap cars, got to do this, and it just felt like that 40 minutes really flew by really quickly, and that white flag just came up a lot quicker than I expected. So obviously, for once, I was concentrating and taking it serious. So much change instead of just messing around the whole time. But yes,
Well,
don't try it if you're not up for a challenge. Let's put it that way.
Oh, now that sounds like you're questioning my manhood.
I've seen you go.
Yeah. Oh, my apologies for anything that you may have seen when I've been on track. We're going to a slightly more spacious track next time out. We're at Mosport, which in itself presents a fair bit of challenge, especially the tight double right-hander going up the hill. How do you fare there? You familiar with it? Do you go well?
Well, let's put it this way. I had to buy the track the other day.
Oh.
So I've never been there. I've watched it a lot on telly. I watch a lot of motorsport. Watched loads of it. It's a great track. But I've never raced there. So this week I will be getting my head down and cracking on. But it's a fun track. So hopefully it'll be good fun. Lots of overtaking there.
No, for sure. And we absolutely look forward to it. Bob, pleasure as always. I know I say this every time you come on, but it is a real pleasure to speak to you. Before I let you go, do you want to give any shout outs?
Well, first of all, you're the only person in the world to say that, so you must be my best friend or crazy. So thank you very much. But yeah, my old man, as usual, was watching, cheering me on. He's my only fan, and my friends mock me. But thanks for having a fan there. So thank you, old Git. I appreciate it, and that's all.
Awesome. Bob, congratulations on your race 2 win tonight, and we'll see you in Mosport in a week's time.
Yeah, cheers, guys. I'll hopefully be speaking to you next week.
Bob Humphrey there, your race 2 winner. We're gonna have one more chat, and apologies to Daniel Lee and Dan Seifenberg. We usually have a chat with you guys, but I want to have a chat with Adam Coles, who is in the commentary box with us now, because Adam managed to get the race 1 win in the amateur category. Congratulations, Adam! You're quite far clear of the other drivers. How did that happen in race 1?
I just, well, lap one, I followed Jensen around the outside of someone, I can't remember. I think it was Dean Powell or I think Stephen Leahy qualified in front of me. Oh no, it was Stephen Leahy, and then Dean Powell went into the pits, and I just went from there. Really, It didn't feel like I was kind of challenged for it, and I don't want to sound cocky from that, but
No, absolutely not. I mean, it looks comfortable. Yeah, plenty of cars between you and the other guys. How have you found racing around this circuit this week? We've heard, I mean, Tom McMahon saying how those were the 2 most intense races of his GT career. How have you found racing around here? Has it been a challenge? And did you have much experience around this circuit before?
I didn't have much experience really. I really started practicing, I think Friday, because I've been putting it off. But yeah, the track really hard to kind of find any grip, because you want to be able to hold that line, and it just doesn't. The car just doesn't do that sometimes. So yeah, it's big work with the setup.
Yeah, I can imagine. And then next time we are heading to Mosport. Again, is that a circuit that you've got experience around?
Mosport, is that Canadian Motorsport Park?
It is.
Okay. Well,
Judging by that, you're not necessarily an expert in it.
not a clue what it looks like.
Well, it's good fun, is all I can say. You know, high speed corners and some tricky corners as well. So yeah, certainly best of luck for that one, Adam. Is there anyone that you'd like to give some thanks to?
Well, there's the sponsors, Max Fast again, you guys for making the league possible, and the rest of the guys at Indie Autosport.
Awesome. Thanks for having a chat with us, Adam. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Adam Coles there, your race 1 amateur class. But no apologies to the others. He wanted an interview, but I can't. I mean, sometimes we say, "Oh, we don't have enough time." We just don't want to talk to you, frankly. There we go. And frankly, I can't spend 10 more minutes with Adam in the commentary box either. So we'll wrap this up nice and quickly, Adam. Mosport next up. That will be once again tricky with the overtaking areas. You got one proper straight around that circuit, and at the end of that straight, you kind of got a fast right-hander, so not an opportunity to get your opponent done on the brakes. So it could be similar to this circuit, but I guess a slightly more conventional circuit. Still old school. It'll be great to go there. A circuit that again we don't visit too much.
Yeah, it should be good.
Thank you for that.
But you said you wanted to hurry it along. I'm sorry. No, it should be. I enjoy racing there. There's you do have to manufacture a few moves. I love the last couple of corners, the big long right hand sweeper. Seeing cars go around the outside there is always brilliant. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, we didn't have all day long, Adam. Could have got that a bit more concise. Come on. Join us back then for next week. Of course, if you've enjoyed this video, do leave a like on it, leave the thumbs up, and subscribe to the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel, also to the iRacing Esports Network as well. There's loads more action coming up, particularly the Apex Racing TV, because all of our broadcasts on Apex Racing on the Esports Network are broadcast on Apex Racing TV, plus a load others, featuring other ARL leagues such as the ARL TC Championship, also the GT4 Championship as well. Loads of stuff. So subscribe, keep an eye out on our videos, and tune in for whatever series you like. Also, do check out our social media pages as well. Some fantastic photos being posted on our social media. And also, do check out the ApexRacingLeague.com .com website, because you can go there, sign up for different series, have a browse around what series we're currently doing, what events we're currently doing. And if there's anything that you want to take part in, go sign up to something. Also, there's loads of race reports on there as well. So if you want to read a race report of this race, or maybe race reports of the previous GT races, or any of the other Apex Racing League events, go to apexracingleague.com and have a nice read through. That also broadcast links are all on there as well. It's really good. And so previews for the rest of the season, everything you could want, championship standings. It's very good. Go to the Apex Racing League.com website. But for now, from me, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Adam Hedgecock, and from Mark Chancer, we are going to say goodbye. It is McMahon on top once again. It's Evo SR with a double, and we'll see you back for round 4 at Mosport. See you then.